Passover is coming up, so let's make matzah. Matzah is a requirement for Passover, and so generally we buy it, and we like the Manischewitz brand, and so matzah is just a big old cracker, and we love them, and we often buy them by the case and just eat them all year long. We really like them with peanut butter and jam on them, but that's matzah, and you have to have that for Passover. But I decided this year we have some friends coming for Passover, so I'm gonna make my own matzah. And so that's what today is all about. Now the tricky thing about matzah is you have 18 minutes from the time that the water goes into the flour to get them into the oven and mostly baked. So they're not kosher for Passover if they're leavened at all, because this is unleavened bread. And so we're going to make sure that we move along and do this really quickly. I got this really fun matzah kind of cookie press type of thing in my Days United Passover box. So I want to try that, but I'm going to show you 2 ways to do matzah. So we're going to get going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with a cup of flour, and I'm going to start watching my my timer because I've got 18 minutes. So I'm going to watch and make sure that we don't exceed that time once I put the water in. So I'm doing a cup of flour, and then I'm going to add a cup of flour and a third cup of water, and then I'm just going to start stirring those together. And then once I get that, and this is a pretty small batch, but you know, you guys don't need to see the big old honking batch that I usually make for my family. So we're going to stir that together, and but I'm going to mix this together now into a ball. And this is a really fun part of Passover is the matzah, and there's a part of it where you break a piece of matzah and you hide it for the kids to find. That's called the afikomen, and that's a fun part of matzah. Okay, so I've got it into a ball, so now I'm just going to knead it really quickly, and I'm actually looking at my timer, and we're only a little over a minute into it, so we're doing pretty well. Okay, there we go. We've got a nice matzah ball. I'm going to just flour my counter here a little bit so that this doesn't stick. And I'm going to use a bench scraper, and I'm going to just cut it in half, cut it in fourths, and cut those fourths in half. So I have 8 pieces, and those should all come out to about the same size. Okay, well, how's our time? Great, we're only at 2 minutes. So then I'm going to take each individual ball and just roll it and put it down, and then just start rolling it out as thin as I can get it. Now I've already started heating my oven because these have to cook hot and fast. And so I've started heating my oven to 475, so really hot. And I also have in there some baking stones that are heating up as well. And boy, my rolling pin is really sticking. And you may feel a sense of urgency. Well, yeah, because you got to get them done. Okay, so it's real thin. That's about how we want it. And this is how you do matzah if you're not using the cookie cutter that we're trying out for the first time. And then you go through and you poke a bunch of holes in it with a fork. And then we flip it and we do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And we're just going to poke, 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 poke. And then I'm going to brush off the extra flour. And then we're coming over here, and I'm literally going to throw it on the hot baking stone and let it get going. There you go. And then I'm going to do my next one. How's our time? Okay, we're 4 minutes in, so I've got to hurry to get these other ones done. So this time, let's do the rolling out, but this time we're going to use this fun matzah press, and we'll see if it works, and we'll compare it to just doing it with the stabbing of the fork. And you can see that the press also has indentations in it to make the holes that are required. Okay, let's try this. Oh, hey, that turns out kind of cute. You can kind of see the holes. So let's throw that in and we'll compare and see how they bake up. And these only have to bake for just a couple of minutes and then you're done and good to go. So I'm going to keep baking and then we'll look and see how our matzah turned out. Now, while those are cooking, I'm just going to give you a couple of little tips that I like to use pretty much when baking. If you're using a rolling pin and it starts to stick like mine did, just use your bench scraper and go through and make sure that all comes off and then let it dry really, really well, and then you should be back in business. The other one is, while those cook, what are you going to do? You know, you can sit around, play a game on your phone, whatever. But it's also, that's the best time to go ahead and clean up. And then you don't have to worry about it later. So I already put my bowl and spoon in the sink. I'm leaving right here the things I need. I'm going to finish wiping down my rolling pin, put it away, so that I have a nice clear space to admire my matzah. If you'd like a free printable recipe of matzah and all of the steps, you can go to the link down below and click there and you'll enter your email and then you get your recipe sent right to your email. And not only will the recipe be there, but also I'm going to include 5 Jewish laws of hospitality that we all ought to abide by. Now, as these come out of the oven, this is an optional step, but we like it. You take your olive oil, put a little bit on there. You can use a weird brush like this, or you could actually use your fingers too if they're nice and clean. And so have one finger for oil, one for salt, and you sprinkle on your oil, and then you put on your kosher salt, and it just gives them a little bit of extra flavor, and they're really yummy and they look pretty. So that is our finished matzah. But for matzah, we kind of like the rolling out version. Easier, faster, in and out of the oven a lot quicker. And let's see, oh, and we did it. We finished this within 16 minutes, so we did pretty well, so that we know that these are unleavened and kosher for Passover. So enjoy your Passover, have fun making matzah, easy recipe to do with kids, and so have a good time with it.